Hello! Today I'm going to show you some different options to customize switch access on your iPad or iPhone. This video was created for learning purposes only and does not constitute an endorsement of any product or service. This video is a continuation of our previous tutorial, Enable Basic Switch Access on iPad or iPhone, and we'll review additional options and customization for switch access. Customizing switch access allows individuals with disabilities more efficient ways to access and operate an iPad or iPhone by connecting multiple switches, assigning various actions to those switches, and even customizing recipes for specific apps. If you need assistance enabling basic switch access on an iPad or iPhone, please view our previous tutorial video, How to Enable Basic Switch Access on iPad or iPhone. You can find that link in the description. Here I will show you how to connect multiple switches with various actions. To begin, go to Settings, Accessibility, Switch Control, Switches. For Bluetooth devices, such as the iSwitch I'm using today, select Bluetooth devices. Be sure to turn the switch on, then select the device name when it appears on the screen. Wait for it to connect. This may take a moment. If you're using a made-for-iPhone MFI switch that plugs into the Lightning connector on the iPad, you'll skip this first step and simply plug the switch into the iPad. This is still considered an external switch. If you're using a switch with an adapter, it will also be an external switch. Please note that plugging another switch into a headphone jack will not be recognized as a switch. Now that I'm connected, go back to Switches. Tap Add New Switch, then select External. Now activate your switch and type in a name. If the keyboard does not appear, you may have to temporarily unplug your switch to be able to type. After naming your switch, assign an action to the switch. Remember, to ensure switch control functions correctly, you must assign the Select Item action to at least one switch. Now we can add additional switches. If you are wanting to use two external switches, you will require an adapter that allows for more than one switch to be plugged in. However, for Bluetooth switches, like the ones I'm using today, this isn't a concern. To add an additional switch, I will navigate back to Switches, and again select either Bluetooth devices or Add New Switch, depending on the type of switch I'm using. In this case, I will add another iSwitch, so I will select Bluetooth devices once again and follow the same previous steps. Turn the switch on, then select the device name when it appears on the screen, and wait for it to connect. Now go back to Switches, tap Add New Switch, then select External. Now activate your switch and type in a name. Now that I've named this second switch, I will assign a new action to this switch. Here you can see the other actions you might assign to additional switches. I'll select Scanner Menu. Now I have two switches with two different functions. The next customization option I'll show you is how to create a recipe. A recipe is a set of specialized actions you can temporarily assign to switches in place of their normal actions. Recipes can perform frequently repeated or complex actions within apps, like turning pages in the Books app or triggering controls in games. You'll need to decide for your program what actions will be needed. First, you'll need to turn off switch control while programming recipes. And make sure your screen is not set as a switch. To make a recipe, navigate to Switch Control, Recipes, Create New Recipe. Next, name it. Select a name that goes with your desired app. For today's example, I'll be using the Books app so that we can turn pages. For the recipe, you will be giving different commands than what you previously assigned to the switches. These will only be used when the recipe is enabled. Set up commands for each switch. In this case, I'll just use the blue switch. To turn the page, I'll need a right to left swipe. Now that I've assigned it a new action, we can navigate back to Recipes and select Launch Recipe. Now I'll select my Books Page Turn recipe. Next, I'll turn switch control back on by going back to Recipes, Switch Control, on. My switches are now configured to use my Books Page Turn recipe. Now I can go to my Books app and activate my switch to turn the page. Remember, to change the action of a switch, you'll need to turn off switch control and then turn a recipe on or off. For example, right now my blue switch will act according to the turn page recipe that I've selected. If I want to change the blue switch back to its original action, scanner menu, instead, I will turn off switch control, navigate back to Recipes, Launch Recipe, and select None. Then turn switch control back on again in order for my switches to have their original actions. Let's review. Today, I showed you how to add multiple external switches by navigating to Settings, Accessibility, Switch Control, Switches, External, Add New Switch. We also learned how to create a recipe for a specific app. To create a recipe, navigate to Settings, Accessibility, Switch Control, Recipes, Create New Recipe. Today we reviewed switch access options and customizations on an iPad or iPhone. You can connect multiple external switches, including Bluetooth, and you can also create recipes for specific apps. If you'd like more information about assistive technology for children birth to age 3, please contact the Tech for Tykes program. You can also visit our website at techfortykes.org. Thank you for watching.